Deuce deuce. Brothers and sisters, what it do? Unique the Godfather of Consciousness. Coming at you with another one. Before we begin, just some quick reminders. Reminder number one, living in this world that is filled with deception. Keep in mind this fact always. While the man blindly follows the truth, remember that nothing ain't true. Unless you accept it to be true, then it becomes true in your reality. Secondly, where other men are limited by morality and by laws, remember that everything, divine brother, everything, divine sister, is permitted in this world of absolute impossibilities. Today's message is simple, direct, and to the point. This message is directed to the children in this world that are pretending to be adults simply because they're in adults' bodies. They conceive themselves to be adults. Why the inspiration of this message? Some of you may be thinking. Well, brothers and sisters, it is as follows. For me personally, I've come to discover that there's nothing more aggravating than to be in the presence of an adult that behaves like a child, emotionally, psychologically, in almost all cases, spiritually, because a lot of the souls on this planet are literally infants, and of course, physically. There's nothing more aggravating for my existence as I've come to grow, develop, and evolve than for me to be in the presence of grown-ass men and women who still behave like children, who still speaks like children, who still thinks like children. Everything within creation function off of the law that is change, the law of change. Everything is supposed to change. They're supposed to evolve. They're supposed to become something else with time. Everything is supposed to go through this process of shedding their old skin in order that they may grow to become bigger and more wiser version of themselves. But the human being, on the other hand, the human being is a completely different tale. It's a different evolution. Human beings, if you observe, they grow physically, body-wise. They grow, but unfortunately, they do not change. A child can grow from from a toddler to an infant to a teenager, a young adult to a mature adult. However, for some strange reason, the child remains a child with that childlike state of thinking throughout that whole process, that whole evolution process that I just disclosed. Wherein from a toddler to an infant to a teenager to a young adult to a mature adult. This process that, spiritually, psychologically, and emotionally, the child is supposed to develop and or grow. However, unfortunately, only the physical part of the child tends to grow, mature, and change. Every other part of the child remains the same. Hence, my aggravation when dealing with children pretending to be adults, or adults that are masquerading as adults, but yet there's a child consciousness within the adult. A lot of things have sparked the inspiration to this message. Or I should say, a lot of things leading up to this moment sparked the inspiration to this message. The truth of the matter is simply this, brothers and sisters: to live in a world wherein a lot of your encounters is literally you dealing with wounded children who, due to the wound, in whatever state of their evolution that wound was triggered, be it in their childhood. I mean, a lot of us, it was during our childhood, but due to that whole moment, the child's consciousness has been frozen in that state of time, wherein the child refuses to grow, but the body has developed and changed. The consciousness has remained the same. Thus, dealing with these adults that are literally trapped in time, their consciousness are trapped in time, it's aggravating. Children grow old, but they don't grow up. It's the topic of this message. Children grow old, but they don't really grow up. Some of you out there, you may understand instantly just from that statement I just made. Children grow old, but they don't really grow up. They don't necessarily grow up. Some of you already feel my pain. Some of you already understand what the hell I'm trying to get across without me even going into details about this topic. Because you guys know, in many cases, you have dealt with scenarios such as the ones that I'm expressing in this video, wherein you are dealing with a perceived adult in your present. This motherfucker, okay, they mature. They got their beard. They got their own house. They're driving their own cars. They got their nice job. They got children upon children upon children. But yet, dealing with some of these motherfuckers is literally like dealing with a child. This motherfucker is a grown-ass man. This bitch is a grown-ass woman. But she and or he still conduct themselves in a manner that is of a child. As I've stated, they still speaking like children. They still thinking like children. They still behaving and acting like little kids. And yet they are adults because society have already declared them to be adults once they hit the age of 18. Whatever part of the world that you find yourself in, whatever the adult age is that the society agreed that when you reach this age, you are classified as an adult. The United States, they say it's 18. I mean, other places they say once I mean, some children it's like once a child, when it comes to a male, once the male have their first erection, they're considered adults. Once the female have their first period, they're considered an adult. In different parts of the world, there are different cases wherein society uses whatever they use to classify an individual as an adult. But me personally, especially once you arrive at this awakened consciousness where you could see through the facade and the script society try to hand you, you come to realize that there are a lot of fucking children in this reality pretending to be adults. You call yourself an adult, right? Right. Let's talk about this real quick. You're an adult, and yet your ass is still lying. You're a grown-ass man, a grown-ass woman. You're still lying. But yet you're an adult. You see, when I was growing up, the way I saw lying was children lied to avoid getting their ass whooped. So yeah, naturally, it makes sense that if I ain't trying to get that ass whooping, I'm not gonna lie. But here you are in a grown-ass fucking body, you still telling lies. You still making up stories to another grown-ass adult. But yet you're an adult. Right? Right. You see what I mean? You're an adult, right? Right. But here you is still playing these childish games with people. You still seeking to manipulate others' emotions in order that you may get your way, because is that not what children do? Children play these manipulative games, these psychological games, in order that they may get their way. Because they don't know no other way to make an adult, give them what they want. So they tug on the adults within their environment. They tug on their emotional strings. But you're an adult. You call yourself an adult, and yet you're still doing these childish things. You're an adult, right? Right. But you still in this bitch stealing. Maybe you're not literally, going out and stealing like things from you're not stealing from the bank. You're not stealing from stores. Well, some people, they steal from the bank. Some adults still stealing from the stores and shit like that. But what I'm trying to get across is, niggas out here, they call themselves adults, but they're still stealing. What they stealing? You stealing niggas' time. You robbing people of their time. Some of you enter into encounters with people not wanting nothing from them but simply their attention, simply their presence, simply their time. For however long they choose to give it to you, you're there to take. But you're an adult. Here is my description of an adult. Adults are mature in every area that makes up the human being. An adult is mature in their thinking, psychologically. An adult is mature when it comes to expressing their emotion, when it comes to dealing with their emotions. They feel a certain way, they know how to deal with that emotions instead of lashing out on others within their environments. Adult knows how to process their emotions. They tell you how they feel. Adults, they know how to speak the truth. They know how to tell you what's on their mind. You either with it or you're not with it. I ain't got time to play games with you. Here is what the fuck it is I'm about. I'm not forcing you to get on board with what it is I'm about. But I'm not going to come into your life and play manipulative mind games with you. I'm not going to tell you one thing and do the complete opposite. That's what children do. Because they're still developing. They don't know, they have yet to truly grasp what it means to give your word to somebody and not follow through on that whole giving that person your word. They don't know the consequences that comes with that. You have to fall to get up. You have to fail to succeed. A trial and error. But you are grown as an adult, right? Right. You are grown as adult and you can't give somebody your word, tell them I'm going to do this, and then literally follow through on what you just said. But you're an adult. Spiritually, when it comes to being religious or spiritual, adults, they have developed their own understanding of the universe. Their God, they have their own relationship with their God. They have a direct communication to their source. They don't need no middleman. They no longer need to go to the priest. A lot of adults on the spiritual aspect, they're not going to the whole parental belief when it comes to who God is. A child is still clung on to their parents' belief, their parents' understanding of what God is or who God is, how to praise God, how to worship God. A child holds on to the word of their parents. Everything their parents think, do, and say. A lot of you call yourself adults, but at the same time, you're still sucking on your mother's breast when it comes to religion, when it comes to the way she thinks. I'm going to just say your parents' breast, how they think, how they speak, how they believe. All of that is still you. You are literally the embodiment of your parental figure when it comes to being spiritual, when it comes to being religious. Mom believed that. Dad believed that. So naturally, I, the child, I must believe whatever they believe. That's what children do. But you're an adult. A mature, rational, thinking adult challenges all the belief system that their parents have. They're not so quick to run from it or tear it down, but a mature, rational thinking adult, critical thinking adults looks at every foundational belief stone that have been bestowed within them by their parental figure and asks the question, does this really truly serve me? Does this really truly make sense? Is this something that I need to bend my reality, bend myself to serve? It served my parents. That's cool. But does it truly serve me? A mature thinking adult, if they ask that question and that stone, that foundational stone of whatever belief system, whatever tradition, whatever way of culture thinking that have been bestowed within them, if that question if the answer does not say it serves you, that rational, critical thinking adult is going to detach from it, willing to deal with the consequences of isolation and being the black sheep within their family. Why? Because they think for themselves. You're an adult, right? Right. But you can't do none of them things. You're an adult, right? Right. You go to a place of employment. You signed a contract with this company to serve whatever the contract was. If you're in a leadership role, your contract is to be a leader in that environment. Provide the necessary information, provide the necessary tools that your subordinate under you need to perform their job perfectly, if not perfectly, to the best of their abilities. That's what you signed up for. But you're an adult, right? Right. Instead of doing that, you go to a job. Rather than being the leader or honoring that contract, you create a toxic environment wherein anybody who comes into that environment and is not willing to stroke your ego and is not willing to perceive you as a leader, even though clearly you're not, anyone who is not willing to bend to your will, they become a target, and you gang up with your little flying monkeys. You gang up against that person to get them out because they're a threat to your rule. You're an adult, right? Right. There's countless scenarios that we could bring up, brothers and sisters, when it comes to this whole children disguised as adults in this reality. But the few I have brought up, I'm sure it's enough for y'all to piece together what I'm trying to get across. These motherfuckers, they're adults, unable to express themselves emotionally. They have no emotional intelligence. They call themselves an adult. They're unable to carry on an intelligent conversation. Let's not even say intelligent conversation. They're unable to have a conversation wherein two people express the way that they feel about a person, place, or thing without judging one another, without attacking. Maybe judging is not the right word. Without attacking one another. We just having a conversation to express our opinion based on how we feel without attacking one another. But most so-called adults within this reality are unable to do this, are unable to have a conversation wherein we arrive at a solution based on the conversation that we are having. We arrive at some level of understanding. Most adults can't do this. Spiritually, adults, these children that are disguised as adults, are unable to respect the fact that two individuals can read the same book and yet arrive at two different conclusions, arrive at two complete level of understanding simply due to how the person was brought up. They are unable to respect others in their individuality. In short, I come from a different background. You come from a different background. So naturally, we see the world differently. Let me respect your belief system. Let me respect how you perceive life. Let me respect how you think. Let me respect how you do things. You give me that same respect. But let's just find a way, even though we have two different understanding of the world, let's find a way to coexist with one another. These adults in this reality, they can't do that. They're unable to do that. And yet they call themselves adults. If indeed this was the case, there wouldn't be no wars. There wouldn't be a bunch of arguments over the ridiculous belief system this world has to offer. Because again, if you're not part of one of these cults, one of these cult-like teachings, you're an enemy. If you choose to think for yourself, if you choose to be an individual in this reality, you are an enemy to those in the groupthink box. And yet, they call themselves adults. This is my aggravation in this reality. This is the dilemma that I face in this reality. You're an adult, right? Right. But yet, you wake up every day. Your prime objective, your prime goal with each new day you are given is to figure out how to be the center of attention, right? Right. What can I do to have all eyes on me? What can I do to be the center of attention? That's you and an adult. Does that not sound like some childish shit? Is that not what little children do? They want the attention of the adults. They want the attentions of their parents, the parental figures, their guardian. So they cry, they throw fits, they bully others within their environment. This is what children do. They fight for attention, but you, the adults, you go in environment, you show your ass, going out of your way, doing whatever the fuck it is that you could do just to be the center of attention. But you call yourself an adult. Divine brother, divine sisters, this topic right here, it hits me pretty deep, if I do say so. Because on some real shit, you go out into the world, right? And you literally doing your best to live by your own standards when it comes to, what you have learned about life. Live by your own morals. Live by your own code. You go in an environment, you're respectful. You're not out there doing anything to take attention off of anybody. You just in that bitch to serve the purpose in which you're there in whatever environment you find yourself in. Conducting yourself as a respectful adult, respecting others within your environment. In short, treating others the way you want to be treated. But with this state of mind, entering into these environment, you come to soon realize that these other adults in your environment don't think like that. They don't live by no code. They lack morals. They literally doing what the majority within their environment are doing. They lack self-respect. They lack integrity. I ain't saying any of this to judge anybody. Let's clear that up, because that's the first thing the immature children are going to take this message as, oh, he judging. No, I'm stating facts. Why? In order that the children can grow the fuck up and stop behaving like little children in this reality, thinking that other adults, people in the reality who have realized that perhaps I have been behaving like a child, I need to grow, I need to mature, I need to change. And so they literally took the steps to learn how to grow in their thinking, took steps to learn how to develop their emotion, how to express how they feel, took steps to develop their relationship with their source, took steps to grow in every way, not just physically. When they enter in these environments with others that have not taken these steps, they are regarded as the problem. And automatically, by being regarded as the problem, the groupthink box, the collective who literally do what others are doing within their environment, makes them the target and literally seeks to make their life difficult. This is not an attack. This is to show you, again, speaking up against the unjust, immoral, fucked up thinking that has long been allowed to go on in this reality. Wherein, because we're the majority, we can act the way that we're acting. We can act childish and call ourselves adults. No, this is no longer the case. If you act like a child, bitch, we gonna call you out and show you that you're a child and that you need to grow the fuck up. Because it is because of your childish thinking that the world is the way it is. It is because of the childish thinking that we have allowed hatred, corruption, deception, and immoral behaviors to thrive in a reality that is filled with intelligent beings, so-called intelligent beings. We are adults, but yet we are filled with nothing but deceptions, lies, corruptions, manipulations, hate, because we are unable to express ourselves emotionally. We're unable to express ourselves psychologically. Some of us ain't nothing even going on upstairs. We can't think, we are unable to think our own thoughts. We're unable to literally express our own understanding of what a God means. But we're adults. Adults create for themselves their own life. They make their own decisions and they bear the consequences. The children that are disguised as adults in this reality, others, your parents, the government, they make the decision for you in your reality and you bear the consequences of their decisions. But yet, you are an adult, right? Your parent, the government, control the narrative. They control the very information that you use to create your reality. Most recent example, COVID. A proper functioning adult was literally telling everybody in their environment, I'm not putting that dumbass mask on. You, the child, you quickly put that mask on, doing as you were told by your parent, the government. A proper functioning adult, a critical thinking adult during COVID, fought against putting that fucking toxin that was the vaccine in their body because they just knew this shit don't make no sense. You want me to put something in my body that has not been properly tested. You want me to put something in my body that the narrative is selling to us, that these celebrities and movie stars and politicians are coming on the news literally like saying it's okay to put it in you. Look at me, I'm putting it in me too. Like, what the fuck kind of childish shit is that? I should do something because a motherfucker that I don't know is doing it, so it makes it okay for me to do it. Your stupid ass calling yourself an adult went ahead and did that shit, and then going attacking people, critical thinking adults who said, nah, I think for myself. I trust my body. I have been taking care of my body all the days of my life. I don't need a external entity to come in and tell me that now they know better and what's best for my body. It is public safety if I don't shoot this shit in me. Critical thinking adults fought against putting that shit in their body. What did your parents do? Your parents started taking away toys. They started taking away toys in the sense of your job. They started taking away your ability to go out. I mean, how can you take away my ability to go out when I can just open my fucking door and go out? But yet, for some of you, they told you had curfew. Don't go out at this time. Don't be amongst people. You have to be 6 feet away from somebody. I'm wondering, like, did some of y'all, did y'all even go ahead and fuck during that time? Did you like make love to your mate, or were you so clung onto your father and your mother's words that you told your woman, well, we supposed to be 6 feet away from one another. I'm gonna sleep in the basement, you sleep upstairs. Did some of y'all do that dumbass shit? Proper functioning adults, they think for themselves. This shit ain't adding up. This shit ain't making no sense. They didn't take that vaccine. They risk their toys being taken away. They risk their jobs they risk being terminated from their job. Some of the toys, they took away the job. They took away, the social distancing. Stay away from people. Don't go to that park. Don't go to that public outing. They took away toys. To do what? To get the children to act right. And when they started taking away toys, you started lining up to get them things. Prime example of children pretending to be adults. Real adults. If this reality was filled with adults, COVID was never going to fucking happen the way it did. People walking around in this space, literally preventing themselves from breathing in oxygen, convinced that that fucking paper over their mouth was enough to prevent them from catching a deadly disease that is in the air. Can you believe this shit? But you believe that shit though. You believe that dumbass shit. So you wore that dumbass mask. You took that poison in your arms. That now, 2025, about to be 2026, it is being revealed to you that, oh, we're sorry, we didn't know. Now we're discovering that it was really poison that it was shooting into you. Now niggas are dying from that shit. Now you got some shit in your body that we don't know how to get rid of it. Now, oh, we should have listened to the critical thinking adults that was fighting against that. But would some of y'all even be mature enough to acknowledge your ignorance and say, we were wrong for forcing that whole vaccine on people. We were wrong for forcing the mask on people. We were wrong for the whole social distancing. Do the research, my nigga. It's coming out now. The evidence is coming out from what all the critical thinking adults were saying. All the proper functioning doctors that were saying, no, this shit ain't making sense. But due to them speaking against the narrative, their like certificate to practice their whole like to practice medicine was taken away from them. But knowing the consequence, those adults still follow through and decided, I'm not going to sit here and feed this bullshit into this reality. Those are adults, were adults. They still are adults. The children, they're still in this bitch throwing temper tantrum, still making up lies, still full of shit. A lot of these children, they have managed to find themselves in a position of leadership. And faced with all these responsibilities, they still conduct themselves as children. If you have mature, critical thinking adults in positions of power, in position of leadership, not even position of power, public servants, because that's what they are. People think if you're in a position of public servant, you have power. I've said this once, I've said it twice, I'm going to continue to say it. A public servant have no power. The people are the power. You're just in that position to be the eyes, the ears, the mouth, to act on behalf of the people. But these immature little children, when they assume positions such as that, what do? They convince themselves that, oh, I'm the power. I'm the law. I can literally abuse the very people who put me in this position. Immature thinking. Mature thinking. Immature children. Mature adults. Two different class of human beings. 9 out of 10 people walking this reality are literally immature fucking children disguised as adults. Wounded children pretending to be adults. And when you take the time to face your shadows and heal your wounds and deal with your trauma, and you go out into the reality, it becomes aggravating to deal with these children, especially the ones who are in positions of leadership. Because when they see you, instantly they're aware that's a threat. That's a real adult. That's a real leader. That is a real critical thinker. That is a problem solver right there. That is everything that I am pretending to be. Growing up, you was told the loudest one in the room is considered to be the most confident one. Now in modern time, 2025, we're discovering that no, that's bullshit. I mean, common sense will tell you that's bullshit. It don't make no sense. But you childish, immature fuck, that's how you live your life. When you go into an environment fighting to be the center of attention, you decided, I'm gonna be the loudest motherfucker in the room. For what? So that I could prove my confidence, so that I can prove my dominance. The wisest and most mature individual in the room understands silence. Quiet is the most important thing in life. You don't need to act. You don't need to fight for attention. Power goes where power is. Period. He who has power, he who is the embodiment of power, needs not act. He who is a leader, a natural born leader, needs not fight for a position of leadership. When the time comes, they will be acknowledged. But due to this belief system that the loudest one in the room is the most confident, is the most dominant one, you have a lot of loud crybabies that have woven their ways into position of leadership, creating nothing but toxic work environment, toxic family environment, just toxic environment, period. Because if you are not a, a, a proper functioning adult, if you're not a critical thinker, if you're not a leader by nature, if you do not know how to create an environment that is safe for everyone to express themselves individually, but yet even in the expression of that individual act of expressing themselves, they're still able to bring everybody together to work towards a goal, to work towards an end goal. If you're not able to do that, you have no reason to be in a position of leadership. But again, because of that bullshit, if you're loud, that means you're dominant. That means you're confident. You have motherfuckers in position that they have no business being in. And the only way they can maintain these positions is by creating a toxic environment wherein the only way you can thrive in that environment is if you're as toxic as them or if you're willing to stroke their ego. No more. Times is changing, grateful for that. Those that belong in their on their actual thrones, the real adults, they're starting to wake up and literally call these children out. And these children see that in fact their time is up. They dread this ending because a lot of the mature adults, they ain't had time to be sitting over here trying to say shit. They just leave these children alone in their toxicity and just keep away from them. To maintain my peace, I will let you have that. I will let you say that. I will walk away over here. To maintain my peace, I will distance myself. I will back away, back away, back away, back away. However, if I have done everything I can to maintain my peace by backing away, backing away, backing away until now my back is against the wall, bitch, you should. That's where you never want an adult to be, because in their mind, in their psyche, they're literally thinking, bro, this childish, immature little shit, I could have literally dealt with this fool a long time ago, but because again, I'm not for the drama. If I can resolve a situation without, getting into this whole like back and forth clash, or without fucking this motherfucker up, then I'd much rather do that. Mature thinking. But some of these children, they feel as though, well, if I got them to back up one step, I can get them to back up again. So they keep pushing. The adult, again, maintaining their peace. I ain't got time for this childishness. They back up. So this nigga keep coming, keep coming, keep coming. Until one day you get against the you get against the wall. The adult says, well, there is no other way to go. I've done everything I can to maintain the peace in this relationship, but this bitch refuses to get the message. Now let me go through though. Then they go right through you. Literally fuck you up in a way that you never thought possible. All along, the adult says to the child, I could have done this. I could have put this whooping on you. I could have literally destroyed your false reality that you have constructed around yourself. I could have I could have done it from the jump. But I chose not to. Because again, maintaining my peace. But you just kept pushing, got my back against the wall. I ain't got no other place to go than through you. And so they go through you. It's aggravating, bro. Niggas really need to grow the fuck up in this reality. Too many adults behaving like little immature children is fucking aggravating. Children grow old, but they don't grow up. It's aggravating. And even to add on to that is simply this too. It's like if a child who did not develop emotionally, psychologically, or spiritually grows up and simply, in the adult form, has a baby by another adult who did not develop emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually, what do you think becomes of their offspring? The offspring follow suits right behind their parental figures. A bunch of children giving birth to more children that has no growth psychologically, emotionally, or spiritually. Now you have a whole generation of nothing but children who are literally depending on their parents, that is the government, to tell them what to do, tell them what to think, to tell them what to believe. Is this not the world that niggas find themselves in? Answer, like, really, tell me, true or false? Is this not the world that we find ourselves in? Children that literally are being birthed by other children who are lacking emotional intelligence, psychological intelligence, spiritual intelligence. They're just old in body, not in mind, not in spirit, not in their emotion. Depending on their parents, the government. Tell us what to do. Tell us what to think. Tell us what to believe. Tell us what to say. Tell us that, give us the information that we need, because we depend on you. We're unable to think for ourselves. Children having children is what the world is. Until something is done about this, brothers and sisters, for those of you that are hip to what is happening, until we do something about this issue, which is to educate these adults, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, in order that they may grow and change, abiding by nature's law, we may just keep repeating this same dumbass cycle, bro. But honestly, no, the cycle does come to an end eventually, because the more and more people that wakes up to their shit and decide they want to heal it, the more and more we raise the standards when it comes to what it means to being an adult. No more accepting the bare minimum from these childish, immature adults that are within our environment, and just letting shit slide with the belief that, oh, that's just how they is. Nah, I told y'all, that's a bullshit excuse. An excuse that should no longer be accepted from anyone. If that's how the person they convince themselves that's how they are, we need to learn how to distance ourselves from toxic behavior, from immature thinking, from children pretending to be adults. Because again, you can't get shit through to motherfuckers that think in this manner. They always think they know what is best. Their way is the only way. We need to hold people accountable. And if they cannot be held accountable, we need to leave them alone in their toxicity. That goes for mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, friends, lovers, co-workers. It don't fucking matter. If these niggas can't get their shit together, it's time to leave them alone in their shit. Leave them in their toxic waste and distance yourself. Eventually they'll get the message. Because one thing I've come to observe, these niggas, they don't like themselves. And the last thing they want is to be by themselves, with their fucked up ass thoughts, with their toxic emotion. They don't want to be with themselves. You give them the gift when you leave them the fuck alone. But until you reach that point within yourself and realize you deserve better, you're going to keep sitting around and tolerating that grown ass baby of yours. Quick thought, man. Take what you can from it. Unique, the Godfather of Consciousness. We out here. Deuce, deuce.